Welcome to Half Full and a Cup of Joe with Joe Fulford, the show that's always overflowing with optimism and caffeine. Joe's got his game face on and his coffee cup full, ready to dive into the world of football. From the Florida Gators to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and beyond to college and NFL football, Joe's got the analysis, the insights, and the passion to get you pumped up and ready for the game. So sit back, relax, and fill up your cup with Joe. And now from West Des Moines, Iowa, here is Joe Fulford.
Well, there has been a lot that's been happening in the course of the 5 days as NFL rosters are getting cut down to the respective 53 people. Some breaking news came out in the entertainment world. But you know what the biggest news is all? Football is back, ladies and gentlemen, and yes, it is back in fine fashion as we get ready for what's going to be a very interesting 2025 college football season. I'm dying on. I got on the Gator hat, got on the Gator shirt, even got some new Gator shoes that came in today, courtesy of Fanatics. Love it, Gator Sports Shop. Go check them out. They got some fine stuff. Gators, anything that you want. The prices are good and got a good payment plan. And of course, I got my soft drink in here. I got my water in here. So I don't know if you can tell, but I think you can quickly summarize or assume that I'm a Gator fan. Just a little. Welcome into Half Full and Cup of Joe. I'm with you on a beautiful Tuesday night. We have so much to talk about. Ron Brown of SEC Sidelines, he's going to join me here in just a couple of minutes. Lauren Meadows of The Lowdown, he'll also join me as well as we could talk about what's going to happen this week in college football, including several SEC games. I believe one of them happens to be the Gators. We'll talk more about that in the process. Ron Brown's waiting in studio. Ron, put the donut down, dude. Come on. Oh, my. Ron Brown of SEC Inside joins me. Oh, he's not on yet. Well, we'll get back to him. We'll get back to him in just a couple of minutes. He has to go get a donut or something, maybe a soft drink. So he'll be here in just a couple of minutes. We'll talk everything that's happening in the SEC. Of course, some big news from the Bucs. Let's get that out of the way real quick. Kyle Trask was one of the major cuts yesterday. I'm going to talk more about that in just a little bit. Still no Michael Parsons with the Cowboys. So that who knows what's going on with that situation. We'll talk about that as well. And of course, Ron Brown, who joins me in just a minute, he's on a kind of like a expenditure, show by show paying style thing. So we got to talk contract on that a little bit later on. As a matter of fact, he's back with us, Ron Brown of SEC Sidelines Live, that you can catch on X, catch on Facebook, catch on YouTube. And by the way, my show you can catch on Facebook right now. You can also check me out on YouTube at Animal. I'll get the number. I'll get that for you a little bit later on. And also, I am on X at JAnimal45. And so do that. Check that out as well. Ron Brown, good afternoon, good evening, sir. It's such an honor and a pleasure for you to make my appearance tonight.
Shit, I love being on here. You got a fun show and you're passionate. Man, we got 2 days from right now, 48 hours late. SEC football starts. Missouri and University of Central Arkansas. So I don't care who's playing. If they're keeping score, all games matter.
There you go. And by the way, you have a question for Ron, or you have a question for Lauren Meadows? He'll be joining us in just he'll be joining me here in just a couple of minutes. I know what's wrong with Lauren tonight. I mean, I think he's out getting pizza. I don't know. I don't know what his trouble is, you know. I keep telling him, Ron, you got to go to Domino's. You know, that's the best kind. Uh-oh. He's joining. Shh. Don't say anything.
Which pizza place are you talking about?
Domino's.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you know, I mean,
one or two of those.
There you go. There you go. One or two. A guy that's ordered one or two of pizza, maybe Domino's pizza, whatever. Maybe Lorne Meadows joining me also on this edition of Half Full of Cup of Joe show called The Lowdown that you can catch every Tuesday and Wednesday.
Just Tuesday at 9 p.m. A little later on tonight, 9 p.m.
All right,
8
and
8 p.m. Central.
8 p.m. Central Time. You want to
Yes,
catch
sir.
him. He does a great job. If you have questions for me or the other guys, please hop on because I'm sure we're going to have a lot of conversation to um, talk about with everything that's happening.
Domino's is trash too, by the way.
You don't like
Oh,
Domino's?
Wait a minute.
It's
Whoa!
awful. Like
Whoa!
I would. Here's what we say here in Gainesville when they pass out the no disrespect to my homeboy Freddie Weeby, the king of Domino's, but we say first prize, one Domino's pizza. Second prize, one Domino's pizza. Excuse me. First prize, two Domino's pizzas. Terrible.
Oh man, Lord,
One Domino's.
Shock.
Excuse me. I'll take that back. First prize, one Domino's pizza. Second
Yeah.
prize, two Domino's pizzas.
I
No
like
way.
I like it.
No
I
way.
like it.
No way. Nah, Domino's is like cardboard with paint tomato.
I love I love them both regardless let's get you 2 days from now SEC football gets underway. Boise State going to be taking on South Florida, but there's also some other games, a couple including SEC opponents. Ron Brown, you're the SEC satellite guy. Give us a little conversation about those games.
Well, we're going to pick, tomorrow morning on the show with Dave Bartu of College Football Metrics. There's a lot of big games. Obviously, Texas at Ohio State.
Yes.
Auburn at Baylor, LSU
Yes.
at Clemson, and Tennessee, Syracuse. I'm going to that Saturday in Atlanta, and Alabama at Florida State, Mississippi State at Southern Miss. And I think, look, I'll tell you one that nobody's talking about, and you watch. It'll be more difficult than anybody thinks about. Georgia State, Dell McGee in year 2 at Ole Miss Saturday. That will be that I would take Georgia State to cover. I'm just saying because Dell McGee has been around the SEC, played at Auburn, coached at Georgia forever, one of the top recruiters in the country. And check out that running back room for Georgia State. Former number 1 running back in the country that Dell McGee recruited is now in Atlanta playing there at the old Turner Field for Georgia State, and they'll be playing in Oxford Saturday.
Yeah, and of course that's going to be a big game itself. Don't forget on Thursday night, Central. I think I saw here Missouri will be at home against Central Arkansas. Yeah, UCA Central Arkansas. That's the only SEC game that we have on this Thursday night. What's going to be the biggest storylines, Lauren, that we see during the course of this season? I mean, it's you got to believe that, of course, Billy Napier and the Florida Gators. That's going to be a story to follow throughout the course of the year.
Yeah,
but it's so hard to try and it is so hard when you have Georgia, you have Alabama, those two guys constantly taking the headlines.
Well,
what is it going to take for Florida to be in that top tier group of headlines? Because it's like they're not getting any respect.
Well, I think it'll happen pretty quick. You go curb stomp LSU, you're right in the thick of the conversation. I mean, to go to LSU, a place they haven't won at night and since 2009. It's been few and far between wins at LSU since then. I think maybe I would say one under McElwain. I think maybe another under Muschamp. But I remember vividly one at LSU. It's been tough sledding for the Gators at LSU. Period. Let alone at night, like I said, since 2009. So you go curb stomp LSU, you get a win. And then you come back and you start out 4-0 with a win at a top 10 Miami team. Now you're in the conversation. I mean, they got the schedule to do all, have everybody doing all the talking they want. But, when it comes to the headlines nationally, I mean, can Ohio State repeat? Can they reload? Yeah. Can Jeremiah Smith, now without Ibuka and some of the other guys, it's all going to be on him. Can someone other than Oregon or Ohio State win the Big Ten? Is Penn State for real? Is Notre Dame ready to be there and be constant? Is Alabama back? Is Florida State gonna resurrect themselves? You'll find out the first game is Clemson ready for the big time. I mean, it's a lot of, but you asked me that. I mean, those will be the headlines throughout the entire year. I mean, I think you got plenty to talk about. And the beautiful thing about it is, I think from a coaching standpoint, you used to have to worry about losing your team if you lost one early. But now the fact that you can go 1, 2, maybe even 3 losses with certain schedules, and you could be in the hunt for the playoffs, it makes that season a little bit more detailed throughout the year. So that's my thoughts.
Let's not get Seminole fans excited with those comments that you just made. I don't know. I mean, Ron. Head to toe, I think we all three know the SEC is the best team and best conference and all football. But by the same token, the Big Ten is starting to make a lot of noise, and the teams that he mentioned: Ohio State, Penn State, number 3 ranked team in the country, Notre Dame, that's really making a rise. I mean, that they could be a legitimate threat to the SEC not winning the national championship this year for the first time in quite a long time.
Well, SEC's played SEC team in 17 of the last 20 national championships. And I don't know what we're going to do about Michigan getting it. I mean, I had Michigan all season, man. I won on them. Harbaugh can coach, but, having guys disguised as Peter Sellers from the Pink Panther movie, mustache and glasses and stuff. Right. I mean, look, every coach out there, if they'll tell you this off the record after a couple of, Ham's beers, we all are going to do anything we can to gain an advantage on the other team. But I don't know who it was, what show I was on this past week, but somebody was talking about Penn State's managers, the ball boys that are, on the other side of the field during the games are using their Apple Watches to take pictures to try to gain an advantage. So you start doing that by artificial means. Yeah, that's a problem. But, Lauren, I heard you talking about Penn State. James Franklin's a damn good dude. I know people that know and they love him, but they're not. But the same thing was said about Frank Beamer at Virginia Tech in those top 5, top 10 matchups. I love Frank Beamer. My brother-in-law played for Virginia Tech. I got 2 nieces and a nephew that graduated from Virginia Tech. They're all from Roanoke, the Star City, I might add. But I think Oregon is the team this year because Dan Lanning, they've got it figured out on both sides of the line of scrimmage. And Dante Moore, I really believe in this guy at quarterback. But as far as the SEC, it's a great lead. But we had Will Vandervoort on from the Clemson Insider this morning to get the original Death Valley perspective on this matchup with LSU.
Right.
Don't count out. Look. Let's look at these top 5 teams, and y'all are both very, very high football IQs. My top 5 in the ACC: Clemson, Georgia Tech, Louisville, Miami. And I know it's fun to make fun and poke fun. By God, Bill Belichick is not a legend because he sucks and he's a half-ass. And I've heard a very smart guy that covers Carolina in Chapel Hill, and he said, look, most of every one of these kids that I have talked to are here because they're serious about playing for Bill Belichick. And they're also gaining access to NFL players like Rob Gronkowski, Teddy Bruschi. You think about, Tom Brady, that they can't get anywhere else. But that top 5, and I put Jeff Brom in the top 10 of the best coaches in America. Don't sleep on the ACC.
No.
Who wants and Florida State, you're right, guys. I mean, I know y'all, the Gators just have there's no love lost for Tallahassee.
No.
But dadgummit, I watched Mike Norvell in Memphis. He can coach. There's so many cool storylines But I'm going to tell you what I don't want to see. I love what Lauren does. Lauren knows the state of Ohio. And Dave Bartu, he'll be on our show in the morning, College Football Matrix. He talks about Ben Roethlisberger, a quarterback who can elevate the talent that he's stuck with to a higher level. Those are the guys that make it in the NFL. Ben Roethlisberger had Miami of Ohio in the top 25 in college, and look what he did in the NFL. There are other guys like that out there, and it's fun to find out where they are.
A good friend of mine, Colin, who's watching on X, comments about Belichick, says, biggest news today is that Belichick isn't shooting blanks. So I thought that was.
I don't know what that meant. I thought it meant.
I have no idea.
I had to look at the news and make sure they weren't announcing a pregnancy or something. I didn't know what that meant. So I was like,
I have no idea.
Yeah. Colin had to expand on that.
Yeah. I'm going to plead the fifth on that one. But, by the way, he is Rob Brown, Lauren Meadows, usually the animal here on this edition of Half Full of Cup of Joe. Glad you're watching on X, YouTube, and, of course, on Facebook. We talk about one of the conferences that don't get a lot of attention, and it's really a shame, it's a Pac-10. I mean, this was a conference back in the 80s and 90s that really got a lot of attention. Now, they're like nothing. I mean, nobody really pays attention to them unless you're Tennessee, and they're teed off about their quarterback going to UCLA, but that's another story altogether. But it's a shame that the Pac-10 is not getting the recognition or getting the hype that they should be. I mean, I don't know about should be, but
the Pac-4 now, or the Pac-2, or it's
Pac 8.5.
I
think it's Pac 8.5.
Yeah. I don't know. I haven't paid attention to Pac-10, so I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to try to. I think they're going to try to poach some of the West Coast schools, like a UNLV and some of those. I think they're going to make a play for them. But ever since the Big 10 and Big 12 poached, Colorado, Utah, the likes of USC, it's pretty much down to Washington State and Oregon State, and then I think they play in like the Big West or something in basketball and some of the other sports. But I mean, you talk about it, in the Big 12's trying to fight for relevancy. They added Utah, they added, Arizona State. Obviously, Arizona State was able to sneak into the playoff, but I think that, and you can see it by the Big 10 trying to get 20 teams in the playoffs so they can get as many as their crew in, 7 to 8 teams and things like that. I just think the change has been, that money controls everything. And unfortunately for me, and like Rob said, a guy from Ohio, it meant something where the fall changed and the leaves were on the ground, and you kind of had that feel in these college towns where you go to. And now you got Ohio State playing a November game at UCLA, and it's just a different vibe. So, but money is at the root of it. And I tell people, you could talk about a lot of things, but at the end of the day, 53 1/3 wide, 100 yards long, and it's 22 guys on the field trying to kill each other. So the game, as far as that is concerned, remains the same. But it's crazy out there.
Let's talk about our conference, the SEC. Billy Napier had his press conference yesterday, and you could tell, Lauren, that from, I don't know, I'm sure you went to the press conference yesterday. That was a Billy different Napier that we've seen. That's a different Billy Napier that we saw yesterday from, say, a year or two ago, because he looks like he's got that extra step, and he looks to me like he's anxious to get this thing going.
Yeah, I think that he's a guy that I didn't get to attend, but I did watch it. It's a guy that I think he likes his team. I think his only concern is the health of his team. Outside of that, I think they feel like that they have everything that they need, as a squad, as a group. I think they feel like they have the depth. I think they feel like if they, had to go down 1 to 2, even 3 running backs, they're good. On the defensive front, I think they feel like they like what they have. They like their young people and experience at receiver. I think his biggest concern is with this schedule and just what a season of college football can do, but let alone with the toughest schedule in the country. Can they stay healthy throughout? And I'm not just talking about DJ Lagway. Yes, DJ Lagway, but I got to tell you, Bryce Lovett, Damian George, Jake Slaughter, Najee Harris, Austin Barber, just as important, important. And if you don't have, you don't have those guys, they got some backups and things like that, but that's going to be the key. I mean, an offensive line that's rated in the top 5 in the country. And I think that's his concern is, okay, can we get through maybe these first 2 games pretty healthy? Just go in here, take care of business, be sound, play clean football, and get ready to take that trip to Baton Rouge with a pretty healthy roster. I think those are his concerns. But as far as feeling like he can play, when Billy Napier said to himself, and he stopped talking about, he always is intentional about his processes and serious about our work and all those things. But the one thing, and Rob, you were there, and he said it, and we probably agree, the last 4 to 5 weeks of the season, they were playing as good a football as anybody in the country.
Oh, no doubt.
And for him to come out and say that means that I think he thought, hey, if I say it, I got to own it, and we as a unit got to double down on it. And I think that's what it is. So you got a confident Napier who has less concerns about filling holes. It's just making sure those holes don't, stay intact, so to speak.
Right. Ron, when you listen to Billy Napier as a guy who, from afar, you're an Auburn. I think you told me you're an Auburn guy. Okay. When you look at Billy Napier, you look at the way he's talking, the way he's developed this team. As an Auburn fan, what is your impression of them? Is it kind of like, wow, this can be a hell of a team, or is it like, they're average, so-so? I mean, what, from an Auburn perspective?
Well, you got to consider I'm not wearing a black patch over my heart and driving to the game with my lights on like I've had to do the last 5 years as an Auburn fan, because it's been it really has. And I'm old enough to remember when Auburn, Georgia was a rivalry, But you get to Florida, I'll tell you what I see. It's like if you're the head football coach at Florida, and I grew up with the Auburn Florida game, forever. I mean, that was one of the, and Auburn people want that game back. For Auburn's 3 permanent opponents, you're here in Vanderbilt, you're here in Ole Miss, you're here in LSU or Tennessee. I mean, people want Florida. Selfishly, you want your name in the damn media in the state of Florida as much as you can, because I think it's the best high school football in America. Texas has a few more players, but the track and field programs in the state of Florida are superior to the rest of the country. Ask Mouse Holloway with his 14 or 15 national championship trophies, okay? So if you're the head coach at Florida, you're on a gravy train with biscuit wheels, to borrow the line from Kingpin. But how can you screw it up? But you can. How can you screw it up at Alabama? But you can. Southern Cal, you talk about an embarrassment of riches from 1982 to 2002, 20-year period, 82 to 02. Southern Cal had one season where they won 10 or more games. How do you screw that up? But you can do it. I like Billy Napier. I know with Lauren and Brendan and Buddy, everybody was pretty mad last year watching that game because they were disappointing. But I picked Florida last year to win 8 games. I got them at 10 this year. The reason I got them splitting with the Texas schools and losing at Ole Miss doesn't mean they will, but I think what's happened with Florida is the improvement on both sides of the line of scrimmage has been really impressive. And Billy Napier is a very calculated, very smart guy. His father, number one, is his biggest influence. Then you got Dabo at Clemson and Nick Saban at Alabama. He can recruit on a high level, elite level, but he can coach, and his players seem to love him.
Yeah.
I'll tell you something. You cannot have a new reality with an old mentality. Forget what happened these first few years. He's had to put his culture in place. Okay. So don't be afraid to come out at night, Gator fans. It's okay. You should expect to win a bunch of games. Now, the talent's there. It's 9th or 10th best roster in America.
You know, Lauren, one of the things that he hit on that really struck at me was the culture. And if there's any question about the culture from year one to now, Billy Napier has made a huge difference. And now I get the feeling that they feel confident enough that they can go out and win these games if they're not supposed to.
Well, my thing is, what game are they not supposed to win? I mean, they might not be favored in games, and I would agree. They can win some games that they won't be favored in. Like they'll be an underdog. I think they'll be an underdog in both games 3 and 4. I think they'll be an underdog at LSU. Now, if they beat LSU, they might be favored at Miami. But if you just looked at it right now, but yes, I think they feel like they can go toe to toe. I got them at 9-3, but I got them playing in 12. I mean, I got them playing in even in those 3 losses. I got them playing in classics. I got them going toe-to-toe with Georgia, got them going toe-to-toe with LSU, and I got them going toe-to-toe with Texas at home. I mean, right. and you could be a good football team in the with Florida and lose 3 ball games. Now, they could surprise me and win a game or 2 or whatever and get it going. I mean, I really think should they beat LSU, then I think it's a springboard. I would be disappointed in Billy Napier and staff if they go to LSU, get that win early, and that doesn't catapult them to, like Rob thinks, a 10-2 and 11-1 season. I think if they go and get a win handedly at LSU, they're on their way. So, yeah, I mean, the thing I guess that maybe concerns me, and we haven't talked about it, and I hate being like this because I haven't coached a game since 2008. But as a former coach, can they eliminate the head scratching decisions, the things that have kept them maybe from getting a win at Tennessee last year, or losing to Vanderbilt, the year before or whatever. Yeah, just where you're like. Yeah. What? Like, so if they can eliminate those kind of things, then yeah, they're in every ball game for sure.
Let's talk about the game real quick this Saturday, Long Island, and for people just trying to figure out why the Gators are playing Long Island. This is my understanding, and you can correct me. They were supposed to play Florida A&M University. Is my understanding that they backed out. I don't know why. So Florida had to reach for another opponent, and they ended up getting Long Island. As far as the game goes, how long do we expect DJ Lagway to play?
Go ahead, Rob.
I mean, play him, what do you think? This is very, very ahead of, to say this, but you get up 35-0, you take him out. I'm going to tell you the most critical injury in recent history, Florida State, when Jordan Travis got hurt in the North Alabama game, the game that their program has never been the same since then.
No.
So think about that. So I'd take him out because Billy Napier is very prophetic when he speaks. He's very judicious. He said 80% of the time, football teams nowadays are playing with 2 quarterbacks throughout the season. And it's rare because offensive linemen will tell you, especially in a road game in a hostile crowd, if you're alternating quarterbacks, bringing them in and out, quarterbacks got to get used to the cadence, okay, on that offensive line. 23, 49, it gets off, voice tone, inflection, all that stuff, especially with a shotgun. Quarterback's way back. And the center, because the center, I don't think anyone's ever going to look at a center and say he's the best athlete on the offensive line, but he's the most cerebral. He's the quarterback on the offensive line. So I like Billy Napier too because he calms people down.
Yes, he does.
He doesn't get caught up. Look, when you're the head coach at Florida, okay, let's think about who are the 5 most well-known, important people in the state of Florida. Obviously, the governor, and then the head coach at Florida and Florida State, and the quarterback at Florida and Florida State. So Billy Napier is a high profile. Everybody knows him. You can't miss him. But he's got a calming influence. He's got 2 brothers. One of them's coaching in LaGrange, Georgia.
Yeah, that's what I hear.
Yeah. And he calms people. When you are in his presence, he looks right at you when he is talking to you. That's unusual. Very, very. But I just think Florida went from 61st in recruiting last year with the way they closed and finished 7th. That's not nothing.
Well, they did the same thing this year too. They were rated as like 61 or 62. Right now, I think they're like 13th in the country.
Yeah.
I have not checked the rankings recently, but I know that they made some huge jumps.
What's that?
Yeah,
Lauren has.
Yeah, I know.
I think
It's
it
like
was
looking at the stock market. It moves every day.
Exactly.
Yeah, no doubt.
I know that Lauren has to go. Talk about your show real quick and who you have on tonight.
Well, it's the Lowdown with Lauren Meadows every Tuesday night, 9 p.m. We got our buddy Rob Brown on weekly. Always brings the excitement. Rob Brown's kind of like, he might as well be the co-host or the second host or whatever you want to
I
call
love
it.
coming on your show, Lauren.
And then we got Florida great Ben Troop of 84 Reasons podcast. And then we do a check-in with Florida freshman basketball player and legacy. Could have probably played it. Well, got a Florida offer in football too, CJ Ingram. So so we're gonna let.
Is he related? Is he related to the Ingram that
Cornelius Jr.? Yes. So that's
is
what
he
CJ.
related?
So CJ. So his son looks dead on him. You can't. I mean, he's and just as athletic.
Wow.
Just as plays a little different. Definitely probably a little bit more skilled basketball wise than Cornelius was. I mean, can deck it, can slash it, he'll dunk on you. So you definitely look for him he'll be in the mix for Florida for sure this year as a freshman. Florida's got a lot coming back in hoops, but he'll definitely should be in that top 8 to 9 rotation because the Gators are going to be that deep. So I mean, it's
one more thing real quick, then I'll let you go.
Yeah.
Did Billy Napier made an offer to one of the basketball players to play football?
So they did. They didn't make an offer, but they actually did have him come out. And I think, it's at 7, it's Olivier Rio, who's 7 foot 6, is the tallest player in college basketball. Well, probably not ever, but one of them. And I think they kind of had him come up and see if he could get up and block. And like Rob said, everybody's looking for an advantage. Remember the baseball manager brought up a midget to get a walk. Excuse me, not supposed to say little person. Can't say midget anymore. You know that story back in the day, Rob. I think it was in the 20s or 30s. So everybody's trying to get an edge. So yeah, big French Canadian Olivier Rio was out there, and I think they had him trying to get up and see if he could block some kicks.
That's awesome.
So yeah,
I will catch your show here in just a little bit. I know
sir.
You need to get ready for it. I'm gonna keep on for just a minute more, and then we'll let him go too. But hey, thank you for joining me. I'm gonna be back on next Thursday when we'll talk about the Florida game and lead up to the USF game. By the way, that USF game is 3:30 on the SEC network, and then Florida, the next game against LSU, it's going to be 6:30 Central Time on ABC. I cannot remember the last time they played on a Saturday night on ABC.
Yeah, prime time, big time.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, go at it, man. I mean, that's the thing. So, and I'll be at the South Florida Boise State game Thursday, so I'm gonna go down.
Oh, nice!
Check them out. Yes, it's a 5:00 game, man. So I'm gonna go on down and check them out, and that way I can get back to the crib at a reasonable hour that night and Be ready to go.
Hey,
go pay the man on Friday.
With that Tampa traffic, I'll be surprised if we make it home by midnight.
Well, that's true. Well, here's the thing: you got to know how to. Hopefully, Boise State takes care of business. You got to know how to leave. So you got to tap out. Midway through the fourth, when everybody else is leaving, you get to leaving too. So there you go.
You think that Boise State's going to put a hurting on them this week?
I think South Florida will play tough, but Boise just a better football team. So I think unfortunately, South Florida is going to play two teams that just are physically better than them in back-to-back weeks. But I mean, the one thing about playing Boise and then playing Florida, I mean, they'll be ready for Florida's physicality and speed. Florida's just going to have to, take care of business for sure. I got that game closer. That quarterback's pretty good. So
yeah, it's going to be interesting. Go get ready for your show. Thank you for joining me. We'll catch you down the road.
Talk to you guys
later. A little bit, Lauren.
All right, man.
Bye-bye.
See you.
Lauren Meadows joining me on this edition. Let me keep you here on for just a couple of minutes.
I'll do whatever. I'm going to be on his show, but I'm not coming on there till I thought I was coming on at 8. I'm coming on at 8:30, so I can help you out, whatever you need. I'm honored. Look, man, I love coming on your show. This is fun.
Thank you.
You know your football and your audience. Put your Twitter, I would say, put that Twitter handle up there so people can see you, because we want to start following you, and we'll retweet it for you if you'll put all that. Type it in. What is your Twitter address again?
JAnimal45.
J Animal, just the letter J, Animal 45.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, JAnimal45.
Okay. All right.
45. Let me do this real quick. Yeah, he just gave me an idea. I don't know how to do it. X.com. I don't know.
Yeah, like I've got mine. It's just at sidelines_live on X. Yeah.
Nice. So I'm going to do that right here. That's what it is. Follow me, JAnimal45 at X.com.
Well, at JAnimal45.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. At JAnimal. That's what I need to do.
Here I am. I've just learned from my producer, and just I tell you, Twitter, that's where Buddy is, and that's where the sports media hang out, and that is the best to me. It's just a nonstop feed coming out there, and you can build a great audience of people on Twitter. It's powerful. It's a force, what you call a force multiplier. Really good.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, Joe, I think with Florida, it's good that they're playing Long Island T in the first game. You know what? If you're worried, everybody plays hurt, and that's just a fact of football. So DJ Lagway, you get a big lead, take him out. But how do football players get better? They play a lot of football, but at the same time, you've got to rest guys. If he's nursing some sort of an injury, get out there. And if you can get up 35-0, 42-0, hey man, play those other guys too, because it keeps them hanging around. In the day and age of the portal where people can push a button and they're gone, you got to think about that. That's just something.
Yeah.
It's worth.
Yeah. And when I was, the big breaking news was that Derek Lagway was going to be the starting quarterback this year for the Florida Gators. I'm like, okay, we all knew that from the very beginning. Nothing was going to change. We all knew that. But I'm kind of worried for this game as far as how much time that he should play. I mean, they want to get the timing down. They want to give him game action. I get it. I understand it. But anything beyond after the first quarter, and Lagway's still in there, it's going to bother me just a little bit,
Yeah, and you can't play scared too. Scared money doesn't win. Scared man never want to fight. That's true. You can't be thinking about getting hurt. You probably will. I mean, most injuries occur late in practice when you're horsing around. You're not keeping your guard up. So,
yep.
I mean, you want to play. The more you empty your bench to say, the better your team morale is too. Guys want to play. And for some of them, it may be the only time all year they're on the field. But when they're 40 or 50, 60 years old, they're going to remember there's probably photographs in their den, in their office of them on the field, in this case, wearing a Florida Gator jersey. I mean, that's a big damn deal. Talk to Ben Troop. He says, every time I go back to Gainesville, we have, reunions and gatherings with the players on the team. The guys that I go see first are the scout team guys because they made me who I am. Not to mention God, my family, my parents, my coaches, Steve Spurrier, Ron Zook. But he says those scout team guys, they go to work every day in relative anonymity, kind of like the witness protection program, but they will make you a better team, program, culture, whatever you want.
Yeah, and I think that plays a big part in it all. And I think we're going to see. I think we're going to see Jake Slaughter for at least the first quarter. But like I said, I'm going to be very surprised if we see a lot of these starters playing in the second quarter. Now that the dust has settled, let's move on to a different topic, and it's a topic that got discussed last week towards the end of the show when it was announced that the SEC is going to have 9 games, and they're going to have let teams select 3 teams that they want to play on a continuous basis. That part I did not understand until I read the whole thing later on, and after reading that, I'm like, I think that's an excellent idea,
Yeah, and you look around at all these games. In the case of Florida, last year their roster was 9th best in the country, 63% 4 and 5 stars on the roster. That's not nothing, as Chuck Oliver always says. It's true. This year the roster is better, and you've got a proven quarterback. Remember, everybody's, oh my gosh, DJ Lagway's hurt. Yeah, he played hurt last year.
Yeah, he did.
Gators were 6-1. What did he do? Throw for 300 plus yards in the Gasparilla Bowl?
Yes, he did.
This is a guy that has confidence, and he's got a whipping arm, man. He can just whip the ball around. He gets it where other people can't take it away. I just look at quarterbacks. And Dave Bartu will be on our show in the morning, College Football Matrix, talks about the snaps. Your odds of making it in the NFL, unless you have 25 to 30 starts in college, diminish greatly. You look at Anthony Richardson, started 13 games in college. Look what's happened to him in the NFL. Mac Jones from the Bowles Academy, the Bowles School in Jacksonville, started the last 4 games of the 2019 season when Tua got hurt at Bama, starts all the games of the virus season of 2020, has early success at New England with the Patriots, but the book's out on him. Where is Mac Jones now? You look, I tell you, the one guy that Dave Bartu, College Football Matrix, is bragging about that did not have tons of snaps, but he had 24 starts, C.J. Stroud from Ohio State.
Yeah,
in the NFL.
Yeah.
You gotta have the snaps and the starts.
And ironically, you talk about C.J. Stroud with the Houston Texans. Yeah. There's another quarterback on that team who as far as I know, made the 53 roster. Graham Mertz, former quarterback of the Florida Gators, now on with the Houston Texans. So congratulations to him. But the other big news, Kyle Trask, not with the Buccaneers. He got released yesterday. I was kind of shocked by that, but then hearing some things about some of his work ethic and things like that. So I'm kind of shocked by that. Why is it that Florida Gator quarterbacks do not succeed in the National Football League?
That's a.
I know people are going to say, whoa. What about Tim Tebow? Okay, yeah, we have Tim Tebow. That's probably the lone exception. But what about these other quarterbacks? Why is Florida not producing successful quarterbacks in the National Football League?
Same question is being asked right now about Tennessee quarterbacks under Josh Heupel. Hendon
Really?
Hooker, 3rd round pick of the Detroit Lions.
Yeah, he got released. Yeah,
tore his ACL in that Georgia game in 23 late in the season. They were like number 1. The South Carolina game. They lost 63-28. South Carolina scored on every possession except the end of the first half. They just ran out of time, but they would have. That was the worst beating I've seen Tennessee take, maybe ever. But I think you can apply that to Tennessee quarterbacks. Joe Milton out of Pahokee, Florida. Hope he makes it somehow. Has no short and intermediate passing game. He's got a cannon for an arm. I think these kids are great athletes, but how many of them are starting 25 and 30 games? Look at Graham Mertz. How many games did he start at Wisconsin? A bunch. Then he came to Florida. He started down here. It's the metric is 25 to 30 starts in college. So how many, and Danny Werfel, you look at him, Heisman Trophy winner, Doug Johnson. There are so many, Jesse Palmer, so many great quarterbacks. Shane Matthews was 14 years in the NFL. I was on his show Friday morning. He's one of the smartest quarterbacks. He understands offensive football like Steve Spurrier does. But it's a mystery. But the NFL, these kids that are coming up now, the NFL's already beginning to push back. They're saying the kids are not being developed. And once that word gets out, guys are going to stay. Hey, I'll make a bet with you right now. Arch Manning, it's not even a possibility that he leaves after this year. He's going to stay. He'll stay at least 2 more years because he's he'll stay. Yeah, he's got to have. He has no starts. He has no experience. And
that's true.
And if you look at a quarterback, think about who are the quarterbacks, that elevate, unless a quarterback elevates the talent around him to another level up here, his odds of making it in the NFL are pretty slim. If they have not faced adversity, what adversity has Arch Manning faced at Texas? He's got an elite offensive coordinator, Steve Sarkisian. What has he faced? Quinn Ewers, Dave Bartu put a 93% failure rate on Quinn Ewers in the NFL. And
I don't think Quinn's that good of a quarterback.
He's not durable. He missed 5 games the last 2 years, I think. I'm with you on Florida. It's a mystery.
I look at Quinn Ewers when I watch him play, and I see his facial reaction to a lot of things. It's like, this is not a guy that's going to win you a national championship.
I don't mean to interrupt you. You're smart. I don't know if you're an FBI psychological profile artist or something, but you recognize body language, don't you?
You can tell by the body language. But look at Lagway. Look at his body language.
Yep.
I don't see a guy that ever sulks. I mean, I remember a time last year when he was struggling on the field, and instead of getting down and getting frustrated, he went over to the sideline. Now, remember Graham Mertz taking him aside and talking to him. Yeah. And next series, he comes out and plays well. Just doesn't get a touchdown or anything, but he plays well. And not Graham Mertz, but DJ Lagway responded to that adversity and was able to, play to another level. That's what I like about DJ Lagway now. Yeah. And that's why he is that he just brings it's like an aura, if I'm saying it right. Like somebody walks in, like if Buddy Morton walked into my room right now, there'd be like an aura. I would treat him like God, because I love Buddy Morton, because I love Buddy Morton's a legend.
Yeah.
And the field of journalism. He's a legend. He goes on Paul Feinbaum all the time, and just to see that, it's just amazing to me. So it's like, whoa. And by the way, we talked about him a little bit earlier. Dan Mullen, congratulations to him. Mm-hmm. He got his first win at UNLV Saturday. I mean, it was a hard fought win, but I mean, they still get it. When you win, you're gonna receive that praise. And now, I don't know if you heard this or not, Dan Mullen wants to continue broadcasting games.
Really?
I don't know if you heard that. Yeah, I've heard that story. There was a story that was on X earlier today about Dan Mullen possibly in negotiation with ABC to do some in-studio stuff. I don't know how he's going to pull it off, but
and still coach?
Yes.
Well,
I don't know how that can happen.
Well, you know how at the end of the season, you'll have coaches that are not in the playoffs or in the SEC championship game on a TV panel before the game. But something, you're talking about a guy like DJ Lagway. Guys like him exude confidence, and they make everybody around them better. You look at Graham Mertz. Okay, there's your character right there. Graham's parents came from. He's from actually somewhere in Iowa. Is he from Davenport, Iowa?
Who's that?
Graham Mertz.
I don't think he's from Iowa. Let me check on that. Go
He
ahead.
may be from the Quad Cities, Moline, Bettendorf, Rock Island.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
Yep.
Davenport, of course. Yeah.
Yep. I'm like 2 hours away from there.
Yeah. And I just wonder, but Graham Mertz, look, I sat in a legendary coach's house one afternoon watching the LSU Arkansas game about 12 years ago. Zach Mettenberger was quarterback for LSU, got hurt, was sitting on the bench in the fourth quarter sulking. And this coach who won a national championship, a bunch of SEC titles, I was at his house. And it was the day before the Iron Bowl. And he said, I don't like that kid's body language. I don't like the way he's acting. He's sulking like a 2-year-old having a hissy fit. He needs to be up there on one leg on crutches, leading his team and talking to that backup quarterback. Graham Mertz, if you look, I'll tell you, last year in Dallas, Brendan Martin and I were there for SEC Media Days. A pretty cool picture I saw upstairs. It was Danny Werfel was up there, and Graham Mertz was up there.
Yeah.
And I maybe even Chris Doring, all there together.
I think so, yeah.
And we were talking to him, and Chris Doring is, kind of the Wally Cleaver, great guy and badass athlete who will stick up for people maybe that, need help. I love Chris Doring. And he's a walk-on, but he got a PK Young in games.
Yeah, I think so, yeah. I think so, yeah.
And, Doring's got a touchdown. I mean, legendary play.
Oh, yeah.
And so, but you watch these guys and you look at DJ Lagway. At Media Days, he's a big kid. I got 2 boys and 2 girls. They ain't that big. He's 6'3", probably 240. And
wow.
When you're by and DJ will look you in the eye the entire time he's talking to you. The entire time.
Yes, I've noticed that.
And
I've noticed that, yeah.
Look, eye contact is everything. Look, fans get too caught up in what other people say. Gandhi's famous quote, I will not allow other people to walk through my mind with their dirty feet. Guys like DJ Lagway, they ain't listening to this stuff. I think Jaden Ball and that offensive line, look, if DJ's a little bit rattled early on, hand the ball to Jaden Ball. You got some stud running backs. But it starts with the offensive line, starts with the defensive line. It all starts up front. And that's where Florida's made significant upgrades.
Yes.
And you got banged up receivers. Look, 10, 15, 20 years ago, the running back was the king.
Yep.
Not that way anymore. It's flipped. And it used to be the defensive tackle was the king. Now everybody's got to have an edge rusher. Different game. But you know what? Everything runs in cycles.
By the way, Graham Mertz, born and raised in Oberlin, Kansas.
Oh, okay.
Oberlin, Kansas. And by the way, the Gators have Lagway listed as 6'3", 247.
Okay.
Wow. I mean that's
Newton big.
That's huge. But he doesn't look. But Ron, he doesn't look it. Yeah. He just looks like this guy that just he doesn't look that big, but yet he has to look. But he can throw the ball like crazy, and with the offense around him and Jaden Ball and company, and by the way, I think that before everything's said and done, I think Jaden Ball could be a Heisman Trophy contender.
Well, he in the strength room, he's getting 5-star reviews. And you got, when you're paying attention to, Billy Napier had a great quote. He goes, he'll talk about a player and he'll go, it's what he does when nobody's watching. It's the things that don't take talent, like being 30 minutes early to team meetings, sitting on the front row, helping his teammates if they're struggling and going over and saying, hey, man, what can I do to help? That's leadership. And again, go back to Billy Napier. Watch and listen. Guys have been in this building 2, 3, and 4 years. That ain't nothing. That's a big deal. And I'm not saying Florida's going to win every game. I could be wrong, but I had them at 8 last year, and they won 8. Took a bowl game, and I don't have a crystal ball, but I'll tell you what. DJ Lagway, what's he got? 7 starts. The only game he started and that he didn't finish was the Georgia game. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying they would have won if he'd have stayed in. Could have, but it was 20-20.
Yeah, I know. And then that's why I said, and I think that DJ would have made a big difference had he stayed in the game. But who knows? But that's going to be interesting to see. As we close this out, as we get ready to close this out, give me the biggest surprise this weekend in college football.
I think that Georgia State is going to make Ole Miss earn that victory. But the biggest surprise, I think, I will not be surprised if Texas goes up and beats Ohio State by 10, 14 points. That's I know nobody's going to see that one coming, but Ohio State.
I think you're right.
Hey, Julian saying he's barely started anything in college. At least Arch has started a couple of games. And I'll take Sarkisian as my coach in that battle. And also Texas might have one the best, if not one of the 3 or 4 best defenses in the country. Defense travels.
One of the things, and speaking of which, it got me thinking, because this is going to be a legendary weekend, because not only is it the kickoff to college football, it's also kind of an end of an era. Lee Corso, and I'm trying to figure out why they put him at Ohio State and not at Florida State. I mean, the guy that coached at Florida State, you would think you'd want him there for his final show. I mean, I don't know. Do you know what happened? I'm
guessing because it's a higher profile game. That's it. And they got more eyeballs that'll be on it. And that's just what it is. And because I think Florida State will do something for him. Hell, I remember in 1987 being on the practice field at Auburn as a student working for ESPN and driving and talking to Lee Corso. I remember that. And he was out there at practice back when you could go to practice. But I think it's all about eyeballs. But I think there'll be a lot of farewell tour stops for him. And what makes college football so great is that we're all different fan bases and all, but I think you saw in the virus year of 2020, we need each other. I mean, that's what makes this league special, is all these different fan bases. I'm married to a Vol for life. And my oldest daughter's an Alabama grad, and everybody else in the family's Auburn. My executive producer, Brendan Martin's a Gator. Buddy's he's unbelievable to me as a Gator. So, yeah, I mean, I don't hate anybody. I love my school.
No, I know
and that. I feed off the excitement of the other schools. That's what makes doing this show. I'm like a 9-year-old kid in Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, because we never knew what happened to Charlie after he won the deal. But I bet Charlie had a lot of fun. That's what I feel like every day doing this show. Yeah. And I love coming on your show, and it's an honor to be asked.
And then you're welcome. You're welcome anytime. You just let me know. I'm going to end this here in just a minute. Got a couple of things to wrap up here in just a minute. But check your phone, because I'm going to send you a message afterwards. I want you to link me something. So right. I'll do that. I'll do that later on. I'm going to be on next Thursday. So if you want to join me, let me know if you got some time. Same time, 7 p.m. Central Time, my friend.
Yeah, we'll be on the way to Atlanta. We should be there by then. I will keep you updated, and I'll find a way to do it.
Okay, if you can, great. If not, I understand.
Oh, no. If we're there, I'm doing it. I'll be set up, ready to go.
Okay, tell me the name of your show, what it's called.
Yeah, it's SEC Sidelines Sports Network, and we're
SEC
live,
Sidelines.
live on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Monday through Friday, 8 to 9 a.m. Central, and we cover all 16 of the SEC schools, and like I said, we like to cover college football in the South, like kudzu and cotton and high humidity.
There you go. I love it. Hey, listen, Von Brown, thank you very much. Get your rest before you go talk to Lauren, and we'll catch you next Thursday if you're able to join me.
All right, got a great show. I love you, man. Bye. Take care.
Thank you. God bless, man. Von Brown of SEC Sidelines joining me on this edition. He's going to do another show. So that's on him. Okay, real quick, let me just wrap up things here in just a minute. Tell you about what's happening in college football. Let's see here. I don't want to do that. I usually go over some of the more interesting games that we're going to have this week, because a lot of people don't realize what's going on. This is week 1, part 2, and some of the bigger games to watch. We talked about Boise and South Florida. Other games, Missouri will be at home against Central Michigan. Minnesota in the Big Ten against Buffalo. Cincinnati at Nebraska. That's going to be on ESPN on Thursday night. So that's a game you want to watch and keep your eye on. Friday, Western Michigan will be at Michigan State. Loss on FS1. Let's see. Other games to watch out for. Auburn will be at Baylor, 7 p.m. kickoff on Fox. Georgia Tech will be at Colorado. That's a 7 p.m. start. By the way, Shiloh Sanders of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who used to play for Deion Sanders, he got cut by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And also, but his other son, Shedeur Sanders, he's on the Cleveland Brown roster. But how long that's going to be for, we'll have to find that out a little bit later on. UNLV Dan Mullen will be at Sam Houston. Let's see, matchups on Saturday. Texas at Ohio State, Syracuse at Tennessee, Mississippi State will be at Southern Miss. And keep your eye on Mississippi State. They may have something to say during the course of the year. Other games to keep our eye on, Eastern Kentucky at Louisville, Marshall at Georgia, Alabama at Florida State. That is a 2:30 Central Time on ABC. You want to watch that game. South Dakota will be at Iowa State. That's a surprise in my book because, remember, Iowa State's coming off that 14-hour trip, and they didn't get back till Sunday. Now they got to play again against South Dakota. It's South Dakota, but still, you have to play again before they have the big matchup against Iowa State, and we'll talk about that game as well. Let's see, Arkansas will be playing against Alabama A&M. We talked about the Florida game. Let's see what we got at night. Michigan will be at home against New Mexico. Other games, as I'm going down the pike here, Arizona State will be against Northern Arizona. Hawaii versus Arizona at Arizona. That's a 9:30 game on TNT. And Utah versus UCLA, that will also be at 10 o'clock. We have a couple of Sunday games, Virginia Tech at South Carolina on ESPN, followed by the nighttime game, Notre Dame at Miami. Then on Monday night, we wrap it up with TCU at North Carolina, and that'll do it. And then the NFL kicks off on Thursday. I want to thank Ron Brown of SEC Inside for joining me on this edition, along with Lauren Meadows. Follow me on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook. Love to answer the questions if you got them, and bring it to the table. That does it for our show tonight. Y'all have a good one. We'll be back next week. Until that time, take care. God bless. And if you're not a Gator, you're primed to be Gator bait. Good night, everybody. All right, here we go.
Thanks for joining Joe Fulford on Half Full and a Cup of Joe. Don't forget to tune in next time for more football talk, analysis, and fun. Follow us on social media to stay up to date on all things Half Full and a Cup of Joe. And remember, always keep your cup half full and your team spirit full. See you next time. Thanks for joining Joe Fulford on Half Full and a Cup of Joe. Don't forget to tune in next time for more football talk, analysis, and fun. Follow us on social media to stay up to date on all things Half Full and a Cup of Joe. And remember, always keep your cup half full and your team spirit full. See you next time.